Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Total Picture. Today, it's time to call Miss Frizzle because we're going on a field trip. Let's roll that intro. First of all, this week we got to the other side of a wet spell, so our fields are dried up enough that we can get back out, continue to cultivate, get nitrogen on, and continue our planting season. So we have to wait for the right conditions during planting season to make sure our seeds get the right start in the field. And so this week we had to wait for it to dry off a little bit, but we are on the other side of that. We are planting, we're cultivating, we're putting down nitrogen and other sprays. And some of our crops are already coming up through the ground, and we're off to a pretty good start for the year. So we're in full motion this week as we continue planting, but that's not what I really want to focus on this week. This week we were able to host another field trip here at TSP, and we were really excited. We got to host Tri-Central Elementary School. So I want to take you on the tour we give our visiting students, let you see the highlights, and give you a little picture of what happens when you come here for a TSP field trip. Enjoy.
In the field, and so what we do is, to remind you what we do is we create hybrid seed, and the way we create hybrid seed is we take two different corn plants and we cross them together. Remember? So we have, in the field, we have 4 rows of female, 1 row of male, 4 rows of female, 1 row of male. We crossbreed those together to where we have the two different plants crossing together, and then we harvest the ear that's on the female plant. So when we harvest the ears come in here like sweet corn. These are husking beds. These are actually husking beds. If we were in a sweet corn factory where they would can sweet corn, you would see the exact same machinery. But we're using the same thing, but we're using it for sweet corn. So ears of corn go there, go on top of this machine. Those machines are full of those rolls. We're in the middle of maintenance. We've got to take all the rolls out. We've got to replace them. We've got to put all the rolls back in. Ears of corn goes on these rolls. They travel along those rolls. So they're traveling along these ears of corn with husks on them are traveling along these rolls. These rolls are spinning towards each other just like this. As an ear of corn with husks on it travels by, what do you think happens? It peels right off. It grabs just a little bit of piece of the husk, it grabs it, yanks it right off the ear. When it yanks it off the ear, it goes through the bed onto a conveyor, and the ears of corn fall out onto these tables. What happens is, imagination time again, ears of corn fall on these tables, and all these conveyors are moving, and every one of these conveyors are full of ears of yellow corn. And there's 45 people in this room, four people per table, and as the ears of corn travel by, these row of people here are looking for any ears that the husking bed missed. So if you see ears of corn, and they see ears of corn with husks on them, they're throwing them back up here onto this conveyor. A corn plant can be either female or male. We determine what it is by which row we planted it. So these black boxes, all of your field gets planted 4 females, 1 male, 4 females, 1 male across the entire field. We determine which one's a female by putting them into these 4 female boxes, and this is a male box. So male, 4 females, a male, 4 females, a male. And so once we put them in these boxes and once we plant them, now that determines which ones are females and which ones are male. These rows that are female are the ones that we're going to harvest. These rows that are male, we're only using the tassel for pollen. So the pollen will sprinkle over onto the female silks to create the seed. Then each one of these rows will come through right before harvest and destroy it. We'll run it over. We won't harvest it. We can't do anything with this corn plant. We only needed it for its tassel and its pollen. So we have to destroy 20% of our field on every field because all we're doing is wanting to harvest the female rows. You can see, if you look really close, you can see the metal floor that little tiny hole. So from here all the way up, that whole building is full of air form. And we blow the warm air into this building, and we blow the air through the holes, and it passes through the form. So we have a form above this floor, we blow the air through it, passes through it. So we blow 98-degree air for 2 days through the bottom, and then we turn it around and blow warm air down through the top of it, and we turn it up to about 105 degrees. So it takes 4 full days of blowing warm air on this bin in order to get it dried off the shelf. So the biggest thing for this machine's job is to take the really big kernels and the really little kernels that we can't use and throw it away. Keep your hands. Remember, don't touch these. Bigs and littles. So all the corn travels across this screen. And it's 25/64 of an inch hole is what it is. And so if there's kernels that don't fall through this hole, the kernels are too big. Can't be planted and can't be used. We basically have to throw them away. So they'll fall off the end of the machine. Then at the bottom of the machine, we put small screens in, which is a much smaller hole. So if there's kernels that fall through this little hole, the kernels are way too small to use, we have to throw them away. So all the big kernels and all the little kernels get thrown away. The very first step of the process. Then, as it falls off the end of the machine, we blow a bunch of more air onto it to take all the dust out. Then it goes through this machine. I want to have you guys slide down for just a second. It goes through this machine, which is called a color sorter. So what it does is, there's 8 cameras in here, and it's looking at the seed from all different directions, and it can see color, just like it's called evolution. See, it's this RGB shape. So it's looking at the shape of the kernel, and it's looking at the color of the kernel. So it can see this new technology. You can see the seed just like we can see, our eyeballs can see it. So if there's a defect, if it's got a bug damage, if it's got cracked, if it's discolored, it'll see it, and as it's falling down, it's basically just falling using gravity. As it's falling down, these cameras will see it and say, hey, ejector, there's an air ejector, says here comes a bad seed. When it gets to you, blast it out, and it'll blast it out here. It'll just go. It'll shoot the kernel of corn out of midair, and then we'll collect it and throw it away. Then every kernel that comes out, the color sorter almost takes a picture of it, and we can pull up the kernel on the screen and look at it, and we can flip it around and be like, okay, you said this was bad. Is it bad? And we'll look at it and be like, yeah, this is bad. Sometimes it starts ejecting good kernels. It'll see some red streaks, or it'll see something and you think it's bad. We'll say, no, machine, this is a good kernel. If you see this again, keep it. Don't think it's bad and then eject it. So we take the bigs out, we take the little out, and then we sort it by shape and we sort it by color to make sure. Because remember, our job is to get the kernels out of the field and to dry them and to make sure every kernel grows. Because ultimately, every kernel is going to be planted in a field to be able to grow a corn plant. Questions? No questions?
Do you have machines?
Yes, between every variety, we have to clean the machines to make sure. So we have to take all those screens out and clean them with pieces of equipment and air to ensure that there's no kernels left in any machine before we start a new one. Yeah, question?
Why do they use like balls?
Why is there balls in there? Yep, I got that question last time. So, as kernels go across this screen, it'll get flooded, and some kernels will get stuck in those holes. And so this machine shakes, and so those balls are bouncing all over the place. And so what happens is, if there's a kernel stuck in one of those holes, the balls will knock it loose, and will open up the screen so other kernels can find the hole. Question? And they're just really bouncy balls. You take them out and you balance them. They're extreme bouncy balls. Any other questions?
They can bounce all the way to the ceiling?
Oh yeah.
Bouncy
Oh,
balls.
those are really bouncy.
Yeah.
So, are they more bouncy than the ones you get at like the big
Yeah, those vending machines are only like a quarter. They don't bounce very well. As you look at it, you can see that every kernel looks like a small round. They're generally all the same size and all the same shape. So we had to run lots of corn and had to sort these. These are called small rounds. You can also see some of the corn that has like red streaks on it, and some corn that doesn't. That's just a little genetic defect that creates red streaking. Some hybrids have it, some hybrids don't. And so when I talk to you about a color sorter, when I talk to you about the color sorter, sometimes that color sorter will think that's bad and it'll tell it to discard it, but we'll have to tell it not to.
So those are the highlights from the field trip. As I said, it's always a good time when we get to host students and teachers. We love being able to do this and teach another generation about what we do, what agriculture is. And we always give them our pitch about all the careers and opportunities that agriculture has, because we do want to inspire people to look into agriculture for a career and to invest in their future through the lens of agriculture. But either way, we're excited to host students and get to show them what we do. It's one of those extra things that we get to do here at Total Seed that it's just an added bonus of what we get to do and how we can be part of our community. So it's always a pleasure, and a big thank you to Tri-Central again for having your students come visit us. We really appreciate the opportunity to visit with them and to teach them about what we do. And as always, if you or someone you know is interested in a field trip, please have them reach out to me. All the information is going to be in the description of today's video. But for now, we're going to get back to planting. We hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. And if you have more content from us, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok. And if you want even more content from us, you can go subscribe to our monthly Total Focus newsletter. Thank you guys again for watching. We hope to see you next week. Bye for now.